In this session, we will be covering three topics. First, we will see that how we can update a JSON payload element value at runtime. Like if a value which is getting generated within a response of a payload, sorry, a response of a request. So if I need to extract a value and replace it into the existing JSON payload. Okay. Second, we will be looking into how to verify the JSON response elements value when the JSON response comes up. So if we need to verify any specific element value as a part of a verification. And third is that how to update JSON payload element value with a user-defined dynamic value at runtime. Okay. So this I'll give an example. So generally what happens in API testing, a lot of time what happens like you have to update a value of any element with a unique value. Okay, so that value has to be always unique. Say for example, you're creating a user ID for a user. So whenever we are creating a user, we have to pass a unique value for that specific as an ID. If it's generating automatically, that's fine. But sometimes there are scenarios where you have to pass a unique value for any of the given element in a specific scenario. So that is we will be seeing that how we can do with this framework, because as a manually we can't feed every time. Like say for example, if you generate that set of data, for example, for 10 or 100 or thousands of users, so you can't go and keep changing that specific value manually and hitting your APIs. Okay, so that is the third thing we will be seeing, that how this framework can handle that. Fine. So we will continue with our existing test suite which we have created earlier. So let me upload that. Okay. So again we'll play around with these four APIs only, okay, and we will be covering all the topics with the examples. So as I said that I don't have specific APIs to cover all the example with the pass API. So the intention is to see how these values will be handled by the framework at runtime for different scenarios. So the API might be getting failed, but that is not our intention right now. Our intention is to see how we can manipulate these scenarios through this framework. Okay, so assume that okay, so this is an API where we are updating our payload. Okay, so assume that I need to change this value. So right currently what is happening for this payload, we are changing this here with the environment variable which we already declared it with the product here. Okay, so that already is getting updated here. Okay, if I scroll down we can see it here. Okay, so this is our value which we are using it. Okay, so at runtime this is happening. So now assume that now I have to change the price value also. Okay, now I need to fetch this price value from the previous API response. Okay, so the API which we are using, they are not generating any price or something like that, but still what we can do that we can try to replace with some existing value. Okay, so currently we are using ID everywhere, so we will see the same example here. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Okay, so what we are saying that, so for that uh, okay, so it will go the same way only. So we are saying that for this payload already I'm changing the year, now I'm saying change the price. So let me add a blank row also, because I have to define the price also. What I'm saying that price. Okay, price. So assume that I will be whatever the price. So when we are executing this API, okay, so this API will give me some response. Okay, or this existing API, whatever it is. So this is giving me a response here basically. Okay, so assume that I have to whatever the value is coming here, so I will pick up that value and pass it here. So what I am saying here, let me show you with an example. Let me delete this first. Okay, so let's run this one more time. Okay, so I will execute this. So okay, let's execute them first. So if you see this, now this is the API which we're creating an object, and then this is returning some response. Okay, this response is coming, So as you can see that the year is 25. Okay, but as I said that because already we are passing a year or even the price, if you see that it's same here basically. So just to give a better example, we will try to replace, what we'll do that we'll try to fetch this ID which is already generating here, and we'll try to replace with the price. Okay, just this is an example, assume that, okay, because I don't have proper APIs to show you that example. As I repeat myself, the intention is to see that how we can use how we can extract a value from any of the response and pass it to the payload to change any of the value at runtime. Okay, so already we are capturing this value ID, which we are already using it here. If you can see that in our example, we are already using this ID. We are using at that at the URL level, and same thing which we have seen at the header level also. Okay, so same thing I will try to implement here. So it's pretty much simple. So because this, once the first API get executed, that ID will already we are capturing into product ID. Okay, so that I will be passing it here to replace with the price. Okay, so if you have proper price, that you can use accordingly. So let me add blank row, then I'm seeing that. So for price, okay, change the value. So I'm assuming it is a price. You can say that, but we know it's an ID. Just to give an example, I'm using the same value. Okay, so I'm saying product. So we are storing that ID into this variable. I will use the variable name. Okay, price product ID. Okay, fine. So let's see. Let me save this. Okay, let me run it again. It might get failed because we are trying to replace the because this tag element price will take an actual price of that element will take a price, like it's a numeric value, but the value which we are passing itself a numeric values might get failed. But as I said that we are not trying to pass the API right now, but we are just trying to see that how we can achieve that. Okay, so you can see that, see price, I'm able to change the value of that. So in case if it's an actual price or some other element which is getting generated runtime, and that you need to pass it as you want to replace that value within the next API payload, that you also you can easily do that. Fine. So now we have seen that. So with the existing environment variables, we can play around at these different levels. So first is that either you can user can go and okay uh, explicitly declare a variable and use it accordingly, and if user want at runtime, he can use or he can create a variable at the runtime and store the value, and then he can play around with that value at what level, what we have seen that. So we have seen that he can play around with the URL level. Okay, he can play around the headers level, he can play around at the authentication level, which we have already seen, and at the payload level also. So these are the four levels where user can play around with the environment variables. Okay, because this is one of the most important part in when we are doing an API testing, because generally the data might flow one API to another API. So we have to facilitate navigation. Okay, so environment variable is the best it's best way to do that. So same thing we are trying to achieve it here. Fine. So now next let's move to our next topic. Okay, which is your how to verify JSON response elements values. Okay, so once sometime what happens, like once you have what to say, after executing API, so it will give you some response. So let me open it. So some response is coming. Okay, all the APIs maximum they give you some response body. Okay, so for example, now in this API this response is coming. Okay, so I need to verify some specific values of these elements. Okay, whether the value is correct or not. Let's say for example, when we're updating it with this payload, okay, with this payload we are adding the color. So I am trying to verify that, okay, is this color value is same or not exist in the payload or in the response or not. So currently we are not verifying the whole payload. Currently we are just whatever the element value you need to verify within the response, you can pass it accordingly. Okay, so we'll see that how we are going to do that. Fine. So let me first remove this. Okay, because it is failing our API. Okay. So for example, I'll take an example of the first API. So once my API is done, so I want to verify within the response. that I want to respond, I want to verify the CPU model and the hard disk, or whatever you can say that. For example, uh, I want to verify the name, or you can anything, any value you can pass it, any element. You can define multiple elements values here. Okay. So what you have to do that, if you scroll down, you will see a column called verify payload and verify payload value, verify payload key and verify payload value. So what we have to do that, in value, you have to define the element name. Okay, so element name is, I'm saying verify for the name, and this value we are passing it to verify that. Same thing we are saying with the CPU model, you have to verify this value, whatever the value which you pass it here. So as I said that these values are hard coded right now, but if you want, you can parameterize, or you can create environment variable and pass it accordingly. Okay, fine. So let's see. So for example, I've defined these two values here for verification. Okay, this is already added actually. So yeah, let me save it and let me execute this test case. Let's just run one test case only. So now if you see that, I'm going down. So see, it says verified that. So whatever the list you will give, it will verify for you. So I'm saying CP model, expected actual matching, name is expected and it is matching. Now say for example, if they didn't match at runtime. So let's see what happened. So if I am, let me make it, I'll give another value which will make it fail. I'll save it. Let's run this test case again. Okay, now you can see that. So it has failed now. It is showing fail. The test result fail. Everything is passed, but why it is showing fail? Because my response has failed. So I'm expecting this value, but I found this value. Okay. So this will, in case the value which is not matching, it will validate for you. Okay. Now same thing with your this status code also. Okay. Right now, if you see that this is 200 matching. In case, say for example, I'm expecting this to be, for example, I'm saying 201. I'm expecting, because sometimes you have to verify the negative test cases also. Okay, so that also validated in the same manner. So let's just run this, see this. Okay, so if you see this, this is your fail. Why it is failing? Because my status is matching here. So my expected is 201, my actual is coming 200. Okay, so this is the verification you can do at the response level and the status level also. Fine. Okay, now let's move to the third topic, which is your how to update JSON payload element value with a user-defined dynamic value at runtime. Correct. So now, as I said already, I have stated that, so there might be possibilities where you have to create a unique value within your payload. So whatever the payload you are passing, sometimes it is required whatever you that needs to be unique all the time. Okay, so that value has to be unique all the time. So for that, if it is a test case, one or two test cases, so pretty much simple. Like you can update in the like for example JSON, where we are updating the JSON value here. Okay, you can pass it that value, unique value, and run accordingly. But if you do have to do the same test cases, or there are multiple test cases, so it's quite difficult to update them manually and do that. Okay, so how I'm going to generate a unique value? So when it comes to testing world, okay, so the method you can say that, or the the way we used to create a unique values. Okay, so that is also is always dependent on my timestamp. Okay, so maximum users or the functional test or automation tester, when they have to create a unique value. So how you can create a unique value? So that generally we create a unique number. Simple. We create a unique number, and that if it is number is unique, so that you that we can create a unique number. Okay, we can write other codes also to generate random values or a lot of stuff. But again, as I said, that has to be again. For example, like if you are running executing code to generate random value. Okay, so what will happen? The while you're executing that code, for example, it give you a random value every time. So once you come out of your ID, or once you close your project, or if you again try to execute the same code tomorrow, so that it will generate a random value. But once you feed that value to by throw unit, saying that in the database this already values exist. Correct. So that is not compatible maximum times. So the best way is to create a value with the timestamp, because time is changing every day. So what time passes never comes back. In the same theory that the number which is generated through timestamp, that is going to be always unique because it's a combination of your year, month, uh, day, hours, minute, and second. Correct. So this number is always going to be the unique number. Okay. So same way we are doing with this in the framework. So we are using a timestamp to create a unique value, unique number. You can say that, and we can suffix or sorry, we can prefix some text with the same unique number. If it's a say for example, if you want to create a user for a bank, okay, so this timestamp will create a some number, some random number like that. Correct. But generally, if this number should be a unique number in terms of like I need to understand that what this number is for. So I want to add some extra text. Okay, I'm saying that it should act whatever the number is generating, just add bank ID or we say bank user, something like that, and whatever the number is getting generated. In this format, I want this number. Correct. So this number will be unique number for me. Okay. So how this we can achieve using this framework. So we'll see that. So what you have to do that is pretty much simple. So within the same code base, sorry. So we have written a predefined code for that. Okay, so already one we have written a method to generate this unique number using a timestamp. Just we need to understand how we can use them. Okay, so let me show you one example. So okay, so where I can find that? Let me open that. Okay. So if you go to this package API automation board, so under that there is one class called user defined external solutions. Okay, so what this class can do that. So in case for example tomorrow if you want to use any if you want to write your own predefined code to generate random numbers or any random value which needs to be updated as a part of your payload, so that you can write it implement in the same class. Okay, the only thing what you have to do that, so once you write your method, okay, once generally what we are doing it, you can drop the same method within the same class. Okay, so write your method wherever you want, and you have to if you see that there are some switch statements we are given that. So what you do that, just define a unique name, okay, or you can define a keyword for that method which you have written that, and then you can just directly call that specific method under this unique name. So this structure will remain same because internally the framework will be coming and reading this class. So once you define any a unique identifier where there is a unique method which has been written and which will generate some value, and that value needs to be passed at runtime. So the framework will going to come to this class only. So that specific method needs to be called within this class. Remember that whatever the method you're defining or writing it, so that has to be defined within this class within the switch statement. Okay, giving a unique specific you can say that any unique keyword or name to that method which you want to use it. Okay, so now let's take an example. So assume that let's update something at runtime. So assume that I need to update this value, for example CPU model. Assume that I have to generate, so there is a mandate, this is a mandatory field that we are assuming that it has to be unique every time. Okay, so I want to generate a unique value for that. Okay, so right now it is Intel Core 9i, correct. So I have to generate a unique value every time. So I'm assuming that I will be generating a unique value which will look something like that. Okay, so which something look like that, Intel Core or Intel Core 9i or Intel Core, whatever it is, you can see that. So I'm saying just Intel and with okay that's code, and then some unique number will get generated. So it is always going to be unique. So I want this. So this is going to be my hard coded value, and this always should generate a unique number. Okay, so now this unique number, as I said that it's depend on the it depends like what type number you've generated. As we have said that we are using timestamp format to generate a unique number. So generally, if you see that any timestamp format is always like that: month, then date, and then your hour, then your minute, and your second. Okay, so you can play around with this. So whatever the combination, if you want to define or you want to create your number, you can use it. So framework is not going to create any number, like it can create its own number, but user wants any specific the number in any specific dimension and format, so he can modify this format. It can pass the format in which format the number is required. Okay, so that number will get created at the runtime, and then any prefix needs, I think this is prefix only. Yes. So if I want to add any prefix with the with this unique number, that you can also pass. Now, how we're going to do within the framework? So currently, this already one method is defined to generate a timestamp using prefix. So in case if you want to generate any number with the timestamp, you can use it. So just you don't have to write any method. But as I said, if you want to write your own dynamic method for any other requirement, you can write the method, no issues. But that method has to be called in the same in this class. User define external solutions, and it has to be inserted as a case in the switch statement, defining a unique name or a unique name, and then that method is to be called. Okay, fine. So let's see how we can implement in the framework. So assuming that I have to create a value, unique value for CPU model. So what we are saying that, so we are coming here, modify payload, very good, which what we have to define, we have to change the value of this one. Okay, so I'm saying that change the value for CPU model. Now, as I said that now we have to call a method which will generate a unique number for me, and I want to attach a prefix. So let's see how to do that. So you have to use this unique name. Okay, so how I'm going to use that? So I have to give a pipe symbol first. So now why I'm using pipe symbol? The reason is that because this pipe symbol is an indication to the framework. So whenever the first character is the pipe symbol, it will automatically understand that, okay, now some external solution or external code needs to be called to get or to create any value or the data at the runtime. So what will do that? So if you're creating your own methods, so that has to be called with this pipe symbol. Remember that. So what I'm saying that, okay, pipe symbol, call this method. Okay. Now, as I said that user can create his own can define his own number with the format. So I'm saying that again, one more pipe symbol. So I have to segregate that. So I'm sending now these, what I'm sending is my arguments basically. Okay, so you can send the n number of argument list, but again it depends on your method what you've created. So I want that the number to be created in this format. I'm saying YY, then I'm saying month and month, or I'm saying date, and I'm saying hour and second. That's it. So I want to create a number based on this format: year, date, hours, and second. Okay, and then I'm saying that whatever this is my second argument. I'm saying that, so prefix this against that number whatever is getting created. Okay, so pipe first character should be a pipe symbol, then the unique name with the unique name to call the whatever the method you define against this unique name, and then second is that for that you can define your own this is not a you can define your own number using this format, whatever the format you want to define it, and if you want to prefix any text before the number, that you can set across. Okay, so this is the way you can create your own unique text or a number at runtime. Okay, so I just go and then edit that here. Fine, and I'll save it. Okay, fine. Now let's run this. So let me run only the first one. Let's see what happened now. Okay, it has failed. No problem. We'll see why it is failed. So if you see that the number is generated here, you can see that. Okay, so this is my based on my year. Okay, this is my year, whatever I have defined it here. This is my year. Oh, not this one where we have defined 1 second. Yes, so this is year, day, hour, and second. So year 25. Okay, Okay, so this is my fifth day, and what is this? 13. 13 is fine. What is this? 13. What is that? Okay, 25 is my year. 57, I think day or something. I'm not sure about that. 13 is my, it's because it's 1 o'clock. Okay, and this is 13. 13 seconds. Sorry, 1 hour 13 minutes. You can see that, and seconds. It's just taking here. This is, I'm not sure what 57 is here. That's fine, but as I said, that whatever the format it might be created at runtime, that is being taken here actually. Now, what we are seeing it here, that it is not added my text here, which I have passed it here. If I go back and if I see that, so there is text which I want to add it. So I think there should be comma. Yeah. I think the argument has to be go with the comma. Let me save it and run one more time. Okay. Sorry guys, I think I have not used this for a very long time. I forgot the syntax, so I think sorry. This is the correct syntax if I'm not wrong. Let me make it to the notepad one more time. Yeah. So okay. Pipe symbol, the method, and this is my argument list basically. So this method which I've created, it is taking two arguments. So argument list needs to be passed with the comma symbol. Remember that. Okay, I think yeah, comma symbol. Let's run this again one more time. It should work fine this time. Okay. Okay, it's failed. Let's see what happens. See, that's a no. It might be failing because of some XY reason, because the CPU model might be expecting something else. But if you see that we are able to achieve that, you can see it now. So I'm able to prefix here. You can see that I'm able to prefix here. Okay. So and this is the value which I am creating is getting created runtime and getting attached to this text which I'm passing it here. It has failed because the reason is that because might be expecting some other value in CPU model. Okay, if you see read that's okay, it is failing because this is not matching. It is created, it has failed because we are doing a verification for the model, so it has failed there actually. So that is the reason it is getting failed here. Okay, now this is a very good thing here. So now, for example, if you see it here, I am matching a value here. Okay, I am matching a value. This value is getting created runtime. Sorry. And what is happening? It's extracting this value at runtime. Okay. Sorry. So in a given scenario, this is always going to fail because every time it is going to generate a new value, and the value which I am giving, I can't hard code this value because from the response I have to extract this value. So let's see what we can do in this scenario. So what I'm going to do that I'll go back, and so now my where we have defined that, yeah, here we are verifying the CPU model. Now this value is what is happening here. It has to be the same value, correct? But how I'm going to check that value? Because to extract some value needs to be passed, and this value is getting created by this method. Okay, so I want the same value which is created by this method. I can't use this same method again. If I use it here, it's going to generate a new value for me, and it's all going to fail. So I need the same value which is generated by this method at the runtime. So what we have done it here, if you go back to the code base, you see something called one another method called last unique value with prefix. Okay, so this method will give you the last generated value by this method. Remember that. Okay, so let's try that. I'll take this, I'll go here, and now instead of that I will call that simple method. So what will do, it will call the same value or retrieve the same value which is created by this method, and then it will check the same value within the response. Okay, let's test this also. So let's do this. Okay, it's still failing. No problem. We'll go back. We'll see it. Intel. Okay, so I think this is not implemented. Okay, no issues. I will do that. No problem. But still, this method holds the value. So, for example, in case if you want to say, for example, there are multiple APIs and which has to be use the same value which is generated by the first API. So, in this case, if this value is updated or used by this API, now the same value I need to update for some other payloads also. So So I can't go and generate every time, because if I generate, it will give me a new value, unique value, and that will be, again, it will be different value. So say for example, I in that scenario, I can call this method, okay, within the payload, so it will give you the same value which has been created last time by that specific method. Okay, I think this is not implemented. I will implement this. This won't be a problem. Okay, so we can go this way also. Okay, this is one defect I want to show it. Say one functionality I need to implement that. Okay, fine. So I think this is the three topics which I wanted to cover. Okay, so I think we are done with that. We have seen that how to update a JSON payload value with the environment value at the runtime, how to verify your response element values. In this, I have to do a fix for environment val okay value. Okay, this I have to do. And then the third, how to update JSON payload element value with the user defined dynamic value at the runtime. This we have seen that. Okay, so with the existing you can play around, but still if you want to write your own method based on your some scenarios, so as I said that you can define the method in any of the class, but that method has to be called with the same needs to be called within the same class, within this switch statement defining a unique name. Okay, fine. So I think this is the thing we have covered. Yeah, so this is covered. Yes, yes. Okay, fine, fine, guys. Thank you very much.